Hello everyone. So welcome back to the second session about the environment setup. So just to review what we have learned yesterday, we have learned about the different types of frameworks, right? So we have two frameworks, the Pega decisioning framework, Pega marketing framework. I told you that Pega decisioning framework is used to generate the NBA. Pega marketing framework has the features to deliver this NBA to the customer. We have seen the access groups like CDH administrator, CDH analyst. Admin has the access to the dev studio. Analyst does not have access. So we have also gone through the certification curriculum that we are going to cover. Okay. So today we will be going through the environment setup. So before you start creating an decisioning application, you need to prepare your environment in order to meet the decisioning application needs. That means we need to do some procedure before you actually have a decisioning application. So let us see what are that. So yeah. So unlike a traditional BPM application development, the CDH involves various services which are responsible for various features. These services needs to be activated before the application is created. So generally, this is done by the LSA and the LDA. LDA means, I told you, right? That is nothing but the lead decisioning architect. The lead decisioning architect generally performs this environment setup activities. Okay, so he will be performing that activities. So let us see what all we need to activate. So in order to make your decisioning implementation comfortable, there are some services that you need to enable and make them activated. So these are the services. The first one is ADM, which stands for Adaptive Decision Manager. The ADM is used for learning your adaptive models and predictive models. That means your adaptive models and predictive models, right? Those will learn whatever the customer is making response. Let us say customer is accepting the offer, customer is rejecting this offer. So this information will be learned by the models by using this particular service. Okay. Then we have the second service, that is DDS. DDS stands for Decision Data Store. So the decision data store is a very critical component in Pega decisioning. It is like a heart of your Pega decisioning, you can say. The DDS contains the critical information like customer information, like for example, how many customers the business is having. Let us say 1 million customers. Now, those customers, what is their age, what is their income, what is their profile, what is their city, what is their average balance. So these kind of customer attributes will be present in DDS. So this contains very important information like the customer information and also the customer products. Let us say the customer, the customer A, what products he purchased. So this kind of information will also be there in the DDS. Because let us say you want to promote a personal loan offer. We need to check whether the customer is already having a personal loan or not, right? Because if he has a personal loan, there is no point of promoting the personal loan service again. For that, we need to have the customer's products also. What products the customer is holding. So this important information will be present in the DDS. Okay, the customer information and also the customer products that he has purchased. So the DDS is generally connected to the Cassandra database. Okay, so many of you might not heard this word. there is a separate database that's called Cassandra. This Cassandra database is storing the DDS information. The DDS information means customer information and the customer products. Why we use Cassandra? What is the advantage? We will be seeing it shortly. But DDS always is stored in Cassandra database, not in your PostgreSQL or Oracle database. The third service that we have is Stream. Okay, so the Stream service will enable you for all the real-time activities. If you want to receive some real-time information, then we have RTDG, which stands for real-time data grid. Okay, then the fifth one is real-time, sixth one is background processing, which you already know. That means if you want to enable some agents or any job schedulers, any background processing, you can do it in this node. So these are the services that needs to be enabled in your application. Before you actually create your application, you need to enable the services to the nodes. Okay, so we'll see how do we enable, what is the procedure, we'll be seeing it. So just a simple understanding of what is this node and cluster. A node is nothing but a server where the Pega PRPC installed, or without install also, that is called as a server. That means, see, let us say you visit a website. That website is having some images. Those images are hosted on the server, right? So similar way, there is a server where the Pega will be installed. That is nothing but called a node. You can have multiple servers also, so that you can distribute the data in multiple nodes. Now, these nodes, which is nothing but called as a server, if you group them together, we call it as a cluster. Okay, so it is called as a cluster. So if you group the nodes together, we call it as a cluster. Otherwise, it is single node. Okay, so that's what you need to remember here. Now let us, so I hope that you understood what is meant by node and what is meant by cluster, right? Or is it confusing? So if it's clear, let us go. See, a node is nothing but a server, and the server can host some data. Okay, the server can host some data. You can connect multiple servers together, which will form a cluster. Okay, which will form a cluster. Now, how do you classify these nodes? So what you do is, as I told you, these are the important decisioning services that needs to be enabled on your system. Okay, all these services should be running. Then only you will be able to work with your decisioning application. Otherwise, it will throw errors. Okay, so let us see how do we classify. So if you just go to this admin studio, right? So I'll go to the intelligence prediction studio, then switch to the admin studio. So whoever is working on 8, they will be able to see the nodes and the information about the nodes in this particular admin studio. So if you see here, there is one node running, right? There is only one node running. In reality, in your real-time project, one node is not enough. Okay, one node is not enough. Always remember, see again, you might not do this because generally this is done by the lead people, like the lead SSA or the lead decisioning architect. They will be doing it. But it's good to know that if the business does not know, or if the lead does not know, you should be able to tell them. So minimum, we need 3 nodes for a decisioning application to work. Okay, we need 3 nodes for a decisioning application to work. Since this is a cloud version and the data gets deleted frequently, they don't need multiple nodes here. That's the reason they kept only one node, which is nothing but there is only one server. Now that one node, it is set to universal. Universal means every single Pega service will be running on this node. Like you might already know, we have browser. So we have web user. Web user is nothing but what? The operators will be using the web user node. So like we have web user, batch, background processing, search. Some services are there in core Pega also. So when you say universal, regardless of whatever is there, every single service will be running on this node. So this node, you will be setting it to universal only when you have a single node, not when you have multiple nodes. Okay, so when you have a single node, you will be setting it to universal here. But for a decisioning application to work, you need to have minimum of 3 nodes in your application. That is the minimum. So then once you have 3 nodes, how do you get 3 nodes? Whenever the infra team adds multiple servers to their system or to their network, when they add multiple servers, that server will be detected as a node in Pega. Okay, when multiple servers are connected. So that way you will be able to see multiple nodes, but when they are not classified, you will be seeing something like untyped, which means they are not classified. So in order to classify, there is a procedure. Okay, so I'll just show you here. Probably it's there. Yeah, if you have personal edition, right? Okay, if you have personal edition, go to this particular folder. See, again, this is, you can do it only when you have access to the folder where the Pega is installed. If you don't have access to the folder, or if you don't have access to the directory where the Pega is installed, probably you cannot classify it directly because you need to update the file in the backend. So for that, you just need to do this procedure. Like, you can test it today on your personal edition. Go to the directory where the Pega is installed. In that, in the tomcat directory, in the bin directory, you have setenv.bat. Okay, so this will be there for sure. And just go to this path, installation directory, tomcat, bin directory, and setenv.bat. Open this with some notepad or notepad plus plus, whatever, and you need to set it like this: dnode type equal to the decisioning services that you see now, right, which I told you, this one, the ADM, which is adaptive decision manager, DDS, stream, RTDG, real-time background processing. So why each of them will be used, where we will use this, we'll be learning it in the coming sessions. But this is what you need to do. You need to set the dnode type equal to like this: the service name, stream, background processing, web user, comma search, comma stream, like this, comma ADM, comma DDS, comma RTDG, comma real time. When you do that, you just need to shut down the server, then start the server again, and go to the admin studio and check your node. Whatever you keep in the dnode type, the same values will be displayed here. Okay, so if you are using personal edition, just try it once today. Just set the dnode type value like this, comma separated values, then restart the server and verify whether it is coming here or not. But in your personal edition also, you will be seeing only one server but not multiple. But in Pega decisioning application, minimum of 3 nodes is recommended. Okay, I hope that you got it. So just do this one and let me know like if you are getting any issues or not. But that's how you generally classify the node to the service. So again, just shut down the server, restart the server, go to the admin studio, click on the nodes, check whether the service is displayed or not, whatever the thing that you give. Now,
Ravi,
then
one
what you,
question here.
yeah,
So, in a real time or a real application, a production application. So, do we like set denote type to just a web user in one and search in one, stream in one like
yeah,
that?
not one, but you will set multiple like web user, comma, search, comma, background processing, like that. That's how you do.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So
So,
one
so
node
how
can
how
have
how will
multiple
it look
services.
like when we are looking into a real designing application? So, generally, how do you
See,
see? I mean, like suppose the one
by
which maybe
default,
you might cover that.
this will be done. This will be done by the LSA when the environment is being set up. This is a one-time process, right? You don't do it always. You just do it one time and it will be done by the LSA with the help
That's
of
right,
the
I
network
agree.
engineer.
But in case you're asked, So how is your server setup or your how are your nodes set up if a question like that comes up? We need to answer
Correct.
that, right?
Yeah. By default, all your decisioning services will be on one node. That's how generally we have it.
So the three nodes
Okay.
which you
And
mentioned,
also,
only one is for listening and the other two are for regular CRM.
see, generally, stream is nothing but the real-time service. Web user is the service which the browser operators, like operators log in, right? That is nothing but the web user. So you need to have the decisioning services along with the web user. Okay.
Okay.
Because the application that you are logging in should have decisioning services enabled and also the web user. The remaining
Okay.
things
So the
you can
node
have it
which
for
needs
anything.
to be used for decisioning, so this needs to have all these six enabled.
Yes, along with web
Okay.
user. Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Got it.
So you can have multiple nodes using ADM, DDS like that. It's not say that you should use only the service for one node. You can set the same values for other nodes also. That will allow you to distribute the data and make your application performance better. Okay. Yeah. Again,
Okay.
we'll see that. How do we distribute? What is that thing? So again, if you have a single node, for example, in your case, you can do the same procedure, go to the folder which I showed you and enable this value. You can directly set it to universal. Okay. Just set it to universal, restart the server, and you will be able to see the same thing. Then how do you do? What is the next step? Go to the Dev Studio. So within the Dev Studio, if you go to the configure, decisioning, infrastructure, services. Okay. This is what you need to do. Once you do that, automatically all these decisioning services will be set to the status as normal and they will be mapped to your node ID. This is the node ID and it will be set as normal. If you don't map any of this service, which is displayed here for decision data store, set the dnode type equal to DDS, adaptive decision manager ADM, data flow, you can just keep it as background processing. That is data flow. Here you set it as RTDG, comma stream. Okay. You need to make sure before you actually create an application, you need to make sure that all these services are having the status as normal, which means they are activated, they are running. Okay. They are running on your node. Okay. So it might sound like what will happen, but when you work with multiple decisioning features, you will come to know you will be getting some errors. Let's say while running a strategy, let's say while running a real-time event, you will be getting errors. At the time also you need to do at least. So it's better to do it before itself, before you start with the implementation of your application. So like this, verify each and every data flow service to make sure whether it is status as normal or not. Okay, so that's what you need to verify under configure decisioning infrastructure services. Okay, that's what you need
So
to do.
this
Verify
is
that.
the cloud application, right, which we are seeing.
Right, right.
So can we expect the same like marketing also in our local instance? Because you told marketing won't be available,
Same
right?
wherever. No, wherever. If you do that configuration, what I told, that will work. You just need to set it to universal. Okay.
No, yesterday
So
we
go
discussed like we don't have marketing in the local edition, right? Yeah, personal
right,
edition.
right. That's what you can do the decisioning things. You cannot do marketing things, but you can verify the same in your personal edition also. Once you do this setting, which I showed you, go to this folder, Tomcat bin, SetEnv. Instead
No,
of
no,
doing all
I'm
this,
not talking about the type. So
uh-huh,
what I'm talking about is the list you were showing, right? If you go to data flow
hmm.
and you were showing the services, right? So will we have the Pega marketing email, SMS, and all in our personal edition?
No. This will be part of this. You don't need to set it. Everything will be there. Yeah, this will be displayed in personal edition also.
But it
Okay.
won't
So
work. Is
what
that what
I
you
mean
mean?
to say is not there is you will not be having access to the CDH portal. Okay.
Okay, CDH marketing portal, we won't have access.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Within the
got it.
CDH portal also, some of the features are already present in Dev Studio, like the
Mm-hmm.
strategies, like the let us say you have the data management, data types, data management. So these all things
Mm-hmm.
are also there in Dev Studio. What we don't have is mainly related to marketing, like segments, campaigns, actions. These things are not there. So
Got it,
in
got it.
short,
But everything in the
there
background
are,
will be there.
yeah, there are many features which are there in your CDH and also in the Dev Studio. So like if you go to the CDH in the intelligence, you have here strategies, you have here prediction studio, right? So it is
Mm-hmm.
this is same thing is there in here also in Dev Studio also. You don't need CDH for that. That's the reason I told you can practice in Dev Studio. So if you go to the decision, you see here I have adaptive model, I have predictive model, I have
Mm-hmm.
scorecard, I have strategy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can directly create and practice here itself. Okay. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So again, just you need to do this procedure, set it to universal. If you have a single node, if you have multiple nodes, then set it to the services. Then verify whether it is displayed or not. Go to the infrastructure and verify whether the services are running normal or not. Once this is normal, this picture will show you like what you need to do. Just go through this picture. I'll send you the PPT to you. And coming to the Cassandra, I just told you like we have a separate service that's called DDS. DDS stands for Decision Data Store. Decision Data Store contains the information about the customers and the customer products. That is very important because if you don't know what is the customer product and if you are sending some product that already customer is having, which will simply irritate the customer. So it is very important information for Pega decisioning and Pega marketing because if you lose that information, it will give a lot of problems for your entire implementation that you do. For that reason, Pega has connected to an database that's called Cassandra database. Why we need Cassandra? Can't we go with PostgreSQL? Means the Cassandra is very well known for the scalability and availability. That means your PostgreSQL, when you are sending offers to, let us say 5 million customers, it will definitely be crushed. Okay. So it's not that powerful to handle huge amount of customers that large businesses will have because most of the businesses are established people and sending notifications to the customer, you need to do millions of customers, which will make it difficult for the traditional databases that you have. That's the reason we use Cassandra, which is known for two important things, that is scalability and availability. Scalability means like you can keep on increasing your customer base. Today I have 1 million, tomorrow I might have 10 million. Still it works the same because it will generally distribute the data among multiple nodes and it will copy the same data on multiple nodes so that if any one node is down, it will able to retrieve the data that is present on the second node because it has made a copy of the same data on the other node. That way it can retrieve it without any issues and it can have 99.9% of availability, which is very good. That means the system, the database is known for high availability, which means it is available for a long period without even during the system crash or any maintenance also, you can still use the data that is present in the database. So that's the reason Cassandra is known for all these things, which is again done by Apache. So this is Apache Cassandra, which is popular for scalability and availability. So now the thing is, the Pega already has one internal Cassandra database for a Pega decisioning application. By default, you might not see any Cassandra database or anything, but when you create a decisioning application, Pega will be connecting to the Cassandra database. Now it's up to the business whether they want to use the Pega Cassandra or whether they want to use the external Cassandra. Okay, it's up to the business whether which database they want to go. But Pega already has one internal Cassandra database. Apart from this Cassandra database, it also has one more database that's called external MKT data. The external MKT data is a PostgreSQL database, which is popular for storing the marketing rules. That means generally whenever you create some rule in Pega marketing, you will store it under external MKT data. By default, it will be stored there only. Whenever you create anything, it will be storing in this database. Okay, so that's what you need to just know before we start creating the application. So the first thing is classifying the nodes to the decisioning services. If you
Can you
have
go
a single,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so what I understand is there are two different databases used by Pega. One is internal Cassandra database and the other one is external MKT data, or are they both the same?
No, both are different.
Both are different. Okay. So does that internal Cassandra database has a name? Like for instance, Pega, when you install Pega, you have something like Pega rules and Pega data as a scheme.
It will be created on the fly when you create the application. It doesn't have a name right now. It will be created when you create the application. I'll show you. That's what I am going to show.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. But this database will also be there when you create a decisioning application. You don't use this database for your core Pega work.
So
Okay.
what exactly is the difference between these two then? I mean, what is the decisioning data?
That's what I was telling, right? This is used for storing only the DDS information. That is nothing but the customer information and the customer products.
Okay.
The remaining all things will be done in this external MKT data.
Okay.
Like for example, you are creating some actions, you are creating some treatments. There are many things are there. You do it in this one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So the DDS is directly pointed to Cassandra database. Okay. Yeah, that's what you need to remember.
Just to make it clear, Ravi, so external MKT data, that database stores only those things which are generated as part of our decisioning activities, right?
Generated as well as whatever you create manually.
Okay, okay.
But this will store only the information about the customer and the customer products. That's what it will store.
That's the data which is used for
Yes.
everything which is in decision. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And also it will store the customer decisions, which means customer is accepting this kind of interaction history, right? So this data will also be stored in this one. Okay. So anyways, we'll see that practically. You will be able to see what is that. Okay. So just to reiterate what we have seen, first you need to understand the services. These are the services. If you have a single
Just
node,
one more question.
set it to
Sorry
universe.
for that.
Yeah.
So this external MKT data, is that also Cassandra or
No, not
is
Cassandra.
that
It's
Postgres?
PostgreSQL. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So if you have a single node, set it to universal. If you have multiple nodes, you need to classify them based on the image that I showed you. Okay, you can have multiple nodes using these services. Then the next thing, Pega has internal Cassandra database. If you want to connect to external Cassandra, that option is also there. Okay, then the external MKT data is also there, which is created when you create a Pega decisioning applications. And then the next thing is to understand the audience. What does it mean? So if you take, for example, let us say you have different types of customers. So generally every business has different types of audience. That means, for example, if you take a bank, all the customers who have a bank account, let us say they are a type of customers. Let us say the bank wants to promote on, let us say, some social media in order to get new customers. That is another type of audience. Let's say the bank wants to promote some offers to the people who have, let us say, downloaded their mobile app on Play Store. They want to make those people who downloaded the app into their customers, or they want to promote only to them. So that's nothing but every single business has different types of audience. Either it can be existing customers, it can be some new prospects, it can be some social media users. Let us say there is a Facebook page for that particular bank. Many customers or many people are posting some messages saying that I want to have a bank account, I want to do something, but they are not customers. They are just some random people who is posting on the Facebook page. The bank wants to promote to these people. So that is again a different type of audience. So like this, we need to identify what is the root audience, that is a root customer base. Okay. Then you need to create the context dictionary. Now, see here, we have customers, we have social media users, we have the people who have downloaded the mobile app. So different types of audiences are there. Now, how do you identify the primary key of them? Because let's say, for example, it is customers. There is a unique key called customer ID to identify that customer. But for social media users, let us say there is some unique key that is called like social media ID. Okay, you are creating some social media ID. So for every single audience, in order to identify that particular audience record, there is a particular unique key to identify them. So we can't say the customer ID for social media users. We can't say social media ID for a customers. So that's why we give generically, we call it as subject ID. A subject is nothing but a audience. The subject ID is nothing but the primary key of that particular audience. Okay, so now when you say subject, it can be a customer, it can be social media user, it can be a prospect, it can be any type of audience. That's the reason we call it as generically a subject, and the subject ID is the primary key of that particular subject. And the subject type is nothing but the class where the subject information is present. Okay, like for example, if you take customers, let us say you created a class like xyz dash data dash customers. That is nothing but the subject type. Let's say you created a class where social media information is present, social media users, xyz dash data dash social media users. That is nothing but the subject type. Okay, is it understood? Subject is the audience, subject ID is the audience key, and subject type is the class where the audience are present. So since we have different type of audience, I believe starting from Pega 8.4 or something, Pega started with this subject concept. Before that, they used to call it as customer ID only. But later it identified, okay, we can have multiple audience. So how do you say customer ID for a social media user, which is confusing? That's the reason they call it as subject ID now. Okay, is it understood what I told? Or is it confusing?
Can you tell about subject type once again?
Yeah, subject type is nothing but the class name, that's it. See, because generally how do you do in Pega? When you want to store some information, what we do, we create a data type, or we create a data class that is pointing to either an internal table or external table. Now that class, which is storing that subject information, we call it as subject type. It's nothing but the class name. Subject type is nothing but the class name. Because for customers, let us say you want to send offers to the customers. First, you need to load the customers into the table, right? Then that table, you will map it to some particular concrete class. That class, we call it as subject type. Okay.
So can we compare it to case type?
No, it's not case type. It's like just a class, you can say. Okay, it's just a class. We cannot compare to that. See, instead of saying class, we are just saying
We
subject
will
like
have
that.
different group of subjects, right? So like we have different types of cases, something like that. I did not mean exact comparison, but just to understand.
Then fine. That's fine.
Okay.
You can compare it that way. But simply, it's just take a real-time scenario, right? Every business will have different type of audience. So if you want to send some promotion to them, first thing you need to store that information. What is his name? What is his age? What is his income? All this information should be there in some table. What is his email ID? What is his phone number? That table you need to map it to a class, then only you can target them. That's the reason we are telling this as subject. Subject is the audience, subject ID is the primary key, subject type is the class. Now you can also identify the subjects associated data. Okay, subjects associated data. That means, let us say the social media user is there, he is posting on Facebook or Twitter or whatever it is. You need to identify. That is nothing but the associated data. Let us say app downloaded user is there, whether he downloaded app from Play Store or whether he downloaded from iOS, that is Apple. So that is nothing but the associated data again. So this is what we need to identify, the business has to identify before starting with the decisioning application. To which audience you want to promote. Let us say the business wants to promote to multiple audiences. They need to create this information in the Pega. So that's what we'll see, how to do that, how to create, we'll be seeing it. But first it has to identify to which audience it wants to promote, what is their associated data. Okay, that's what it has to identify this. Okay, this we have seen. So let us go ahead with creating the application now that we understood the prerequisites. The first thing is to classify the services with these particular names. Set it as universal or manual. Then second thing is to verify whether the services are running normal or not. From configure, decisioning, you can go to infrastructure and services. Third thing is to identify the subjects, whether you have one subject or two subjects or three subjects. What is their subject ID that you want to make it unique? Because for every subject, you need to have one unique ID so that you can identify that particular person. Okay, then the subject associated data. Then you can go ahead with creating the application. Let us do that now. So creating a decisioning application is same as creating your BPM application. So go to here, new application. So like I told you yesterday, we will be creating a banking application so that it will be easy for us. Here, what you need to do is you need to select the CDH. Basically, whenever the business identified the framework, whenever it has purchased the license, it will install the framework on their system, right? Then you will be getting this framework displayed to you. Then you need to select the CDH. Okay, you need to select the customer decision hub here and click on continue. Select with build with customer decision hub. So okay, now let us call this particular application as XYZ Bank. So I'm giving the name as XYZ Bank. Okay. Now let us give the organization name as XYZ. Okay, I'm giving it as XYZ. This is my application. This is my organization. So there is one important rule set that gets created, which is called artifacts rule set. So I'll tell you what is that rule set, why we use it once we create the application. But let us continue with creating the application. So my application name is XYZ Bank, organization is XYZ. Click on continue. So this is where you select the option that is called whether you want to use the Cassandra decision data store or not. If you select this option, the Pega will create an internal Cassandra database that is going to store the decision data service. if you don't select this option, the DDS information will be present in Postgres. Okay, so if you select this option, then only it will create the Cassandra and you can store it in Cassandra. If you don't select, it will be stored in PostgreSQL only, which is the external MKT data database. That's where it will be storing. Okay, so let us select this and we'll see how it is creating, what is the details. Now I click on continue. So this is same as your BPM thing. You can configure any framework or implementation, these things in the advanced configuration. So I don't want to get into all those details. I'll just leave it as it is and click on create application. That's it.
Like we do for the regular PRPC application. So do we also create like frameworks here and use the frameworks?
Yeah. Yes. So just to
Okay.
tell you short, I'll give you the architecture, how you need to create your application structure. So, by default, you'll have the base, that is the Pega application, base Pega rules. On top of that, you will have your Pega framework, which is your decisioning. Or so here we will have marketing. You call it as Pega marketing. I'll show you the structure. First, you will have base, that is a UI kit. Okay, UI kit. On top of UI kit, you need to keep Pega marketing framework or the Pega frameworks, whatever it is. For example, you purchase some framework, that framework you need to install here. On top of Pega marketing framework, you will keep your application frameworks, like whatever the frameworks that are specific to your organization, that framework you will keep on top of this. On top of application framework, you will keep your Pega decisioning implementation application. Same structure will be going for your core Pega also. Okay, for core Pega also, but here it will be your core Pega implementation application. Okay, that's how it will be. So this is how you need to follow the structure when you are creating the application with frameworks. You'll have the UI kit on top of Pega marketing frameworks, on top of that application frameworks, on top of application framework, your implementation application will be there. Okay, so this is how you need to build it. So now our application is created. Okay, so let us go to the application and see how it looks like. Generally, it will throw the, so you need to log off and log in. Okay, because it will just come like this. Okay, with blank screen. This is some defect from the product. I just log off. So let us log in with the same details, which is CDH administrator. So now success, our XYZ bank application, that decisioning application is created. So that's it. There are only 2 steps that are additional, nothing else.
So Ravi, when we do the same thing with the personal edition, right? We are not getting the frameworks what you have shown as the customer decision of the set of frameworks that are coming on the web, right? That the cloud. It is not coming there.
That's what I told, right? In personal edition, you don't have CDH.
Okay. So we can't get use. You need to practice
No.
only in the cloud version, right? That is
Yes,
the only option.
yes. Like I told, for Pega marketing, you need to practice in cloud. For Pega decisioning, you can practice in Dev Studio.
Okay.
Yeah. So first we are going to start with Pega decisioning. So it will work. It will run till like around 10 to 15 days. After that, we will go into Pega marketing. Okay. Yeah. So the XYZ bank application is created. Now we need to just understand few things now. First thing, just verify the access groups. So what I will do, I'll just type XYZ bank. XYZ bank. So see that the OOTB decisioning access groups are created, which is the CDH administrator, CDH analysts, CDH managers, marketing administrators, marketing analysts, marketing managers. Again, as I told, right, there is a single portal, but The difference is some features will be enabled for marketing, some features will be disabled for CDH, like that it is there. Okay, but the same portal, which is CDH portal for both of them. The next thing is we will have an artifacts rule set created in our application. So it is not there in your core Pega application, right? So but here it will be there. Then notice that our application is created on Pega marketing underscore FW, right? It's created on Pega marketing FW. So that's how you need to do it. Now this Pega marketing FW, it will be built on top of your UI kit, Pega rules. So you see Pega marketing core. Again, if you go down, Pega marketing prerequisites, all these are installed frameworks. Then you have UI kit here, which is nothing but the base. Okay, which is nothing but the base application. On top of this, your Pega marketing framework, on top of Pega marketing framework, you will keep your, let us say, XYZ framework. On top of the XYZ framework, you will keep your XYZ bank application. That's how you need to build your application. That's the recommended practice. This implementation, application framework, Pega frameworks, and Pega UI kit. So that is same for your core Pega application also. You need to do the same thing. Now, coming to the rule sets, we have here 2 additional rule sets that are created compared to the Pega BPM application creation. When you create a BPM application, you don't see these 2 rule sets. The first one is the artifacts rule set. Second one is the NBAD tests rule set. The artifacts rule set is like a production rule set for Pega decisioning, and it has various reasons why we need it. First thing, we can use any runtime rules. You can keep it in artifacts rule set. That means you want to, let us say, edit something in production environment, then you will be saving it into artifacts rule set. The artifacts rule set will never be locked. Okay, you need to always keep this open. Okay, you need to always keep this open, and it will be open till production. It's like a production rule set for your Pega decisioning applications. Any Pega decisioning or Pega marketing rules, you can keep it here. So you'll keep it unlocked. Second thing, any product rules that you create in Pega decisioning, like let's say you want to deploy some Pega decisioning rules, you create the product rules in the artifacts rule set. Okay, for any decisioning applications, the product rules will be stored in this artifacts rule set. Yeah, I think someone has question. No. Yeah. So again, 2 things. This is like a production rule set. This is top of the hierarchy. Okay, this is like every time it will be in the top of the hierarchy. That's the reason it is like a production rule set, because if you want to do some changes in production at runtime, you will do it in the production rule set here, right? Which will be on the top of the rule set hierarchy. Same way, this will be top of the hierarchy. So if you want to do some override, you can override that and you can keep it in the artifacts rule set. Whatever is there in the artifacts rule set, that will be triggered first, because you can see that in the rule set list, this is present in the top of the hierarchy, right? That's the reason. One, it is a production rule set. Second is it will be storing the production rules. Third is if you want to do some kind of POC or some kind of things, that also you can do in the artifacts rule set only. Okay, so these are the 3 advantages of having a artifacts rule set. One is a production rule set. Second is like it is on the top of the hierarchy and it will store the product rules. Third is if you want to do any POC or runtime updates, you can store in this particular rule set. The second rule set that we have is NBAD tests. The NBAD tests is nothing but a, what you say, it's nothing but a test case rule set. That means, for example, let's say you want to create some test cases. What you do, you will create a separate rule set, right? In traditional Pega, you'll say XYZ bank underscore test cases, something like that. In the test cases rule set, you will store your test cases. But what about the test cases for Pega decisioning? that will be stored in NBAD tests. This is generally not promoted to higher environments, just like how you do for test cases, which is only for improving your performance and improving the guardrails and for doing some unit testing, right? Like for example, you created a strategy. You want to test whether that strategy is working fine or not. Then you will keep some test rules in this and you can test it. So this NBAD stands for next best action designer. Okay, next best action designer tests. That is nothing but the test cases rule set. This is the artifacts rule set. This is the test cases rule set. Okay, artifacts rule set is the top of the hierarchy, which is like a production rule set. Whatever you keep in this will override everything, and it can be used for runtime updates. It can be used for any kind of POC or these things, and it can also be used to store the product rules. NBAD tests is used for any test cases that you create or any testing that you are doing. You can store the testing rules in this particular rule set. Okay, the remaining things are known to you. Yeah, so that's about this creating application. And what else you have? The next thing is the Cassandra. How do you see the Cassandra information? Go to decisioning, infrastructure, and decision data store. Okay, believe I came correct. Edit settings. Okay, edit settings. And this is where you see the Cassandra information. The Cassandra port, Cassandra user ID, Cassandra password, and this is a internal Cassandra. And this is an internal Cassandra. So this is what the information you can see. There is a separate rule type that is Cassandra. You need to create that if you want to create an external Cassandra, which you'll see in the coming sessions. Okay, but this is where you see the Cassandra information.
Can we connect to this internal Cassandra from something else?
Yeah, you can connect. You can connect
Just
to
to
that. You
see
need
what
to,
data is there.
yes, you can do that. You can do that, but the recommended practice is we have something called decision data store data sets. In order to see the data that is present in Cassandra, you will create a DDS data set and you will run the data. So again,
So
we'll see that.
otherwise it will be just like blobs.
Correct.
Okay.
It's not present in blob, but you cannot see it directly like you see in Postgres. You cannot see it directly. If you want to see the data, you need to create a DDS data set. So we'll see that anyways when we learn about the data set. I'll show you. Yeah, so that's it for today. So just to tell what we have done, we have understood how to classify the nodes. If you have a single node, set it to universal. If you have multiple nodes, set it to the D node type equal to DDS, ADM, RTDG, stream, like that you need to set it. Minimum 3 nodes are recommended. Whichever the nodes are having decisioning services, that should also have web user. Next thing is you need to create the application with the artifacts rule set. Then you can select whether you want internal Cassandra or external Cassandra. If you don't select that option, it will store into the Postgres. Then once you create the application, artifacts rule set is there, NBAD tests rule set is there, and also the Pega marketing framework is the where your application will be created. Okay, so we'll continue this from tomorrow with the next set of topics. Okay, any questions on this? Everyone, are you able to understand what we did today? Yeah.
So,
So just
this
try
creating
this.
the application, and once we are done with it, so if you want to take a backup, so we don't lose it the next day, how can we do that?
Just go to configure, application, distribution, export. And go to the package. Okay. So what you do, select the application, then you can just select the rule set. Okay, let us say generally we create everything in rule set only. Okay, so you can select this because artifacts you store only like production updates and all that. So you can just take this rules version, click on next. The remaining things will be same. You just need to click next. That's it. because select your application, make sure it is there. So once you do all this, it will generate the product file for you, which you can download on your system. Okay.
So next time we create the same application and then import this product.
Yeah, that's it. So just
Okay.
everything will be selected. You don't need to do anything. Keep clicking next. That's it.
So this is like our regular, production.
Yes. Same thing. Depending on the rules that you have, it might take some time, but everything is same.
Okay.
Okay. So you don't need this all. These are all Java archives. Database storage, you can see external MKT data got created, right? Which I told you. This external MKT data you don't see in your BPM application. Okay. Click on next. That's it. Okay. So the services, you need the services because again, these are all OOTB services. We'll be learning it as we progress. Just click on finish and you can generate the file. You click on export, give a name for this and click on OK and you will be able to download it. That's it. Okay.
Okay.
Store the file. Then next time you want to import, just go here, distribution, import. Okay. Then just select the file from your system. That's it. Click on next, it will be done. You will be able to see that everything.
So it's better
Okay.
that every day after practice we do this, right?
That's fine. You can do it like after 3 days, but your wish. Okay.
No, I mean, if 3 days is confirmed, it is available, then it is okay.
Yeah, it will be there for 3 days minimum.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, then. So we'll meet tomorrow. Just go through the recording that happened today. The recording will be shared in the group so that you will be up to date till tomorrow. See you then.